you haven't heard about Anchor, it's simply the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. They're creative tools that allow you to edit and record your podcast right from your phone or your computer. They're distributed to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many more platforms for you. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What's going on, podcast family? Want to thank every single listener out there tuning in to the Stocks is Talking podcast with Ibn Getz. Very quick disclaimer, everyone. Please keep in mind, Ibn Getz, we are not financial advisors, people. We are simply two guys that love investing and we love to talk about it. At the end of the day, it's important to trade at your own risk. It's important to do what's best for your portfolio and always use discretion when trading in the markets. Welcome, world. Welcome to another episode of the Stocks is Talking podcast with Ibn Getz. I'm your co-host, Ib Getz. What's going on?
What's going on? Episode 3. Bloody Monday. It's ugly out here.
It's ugly out here? What you mean?
It's ugly out here. Markets is ugly right now. It's raining outside. I'm not feeling today.
Markets are very bloody today. Very red. Although last week we had some big gains. I heard the NASDAQ or the Dow hit records last week. I think it was anticipation of, I think earnings is coming up this week, actually.
Yeah, so earnings season starting this week.
Yeah, so I think the banks are doing earnings later this week. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that the techs are going to be doing them eventually. So earnings, whenever earnings hits, they're going to affect the markets either up or down. So looking forward to it. Right now, it's not looking too good for the market. I'm assuming when some of these earnings start hitting, that means the more markets are going to be jumping.
Well, hopefully, we got to see what's going on with the earnings. See, how the recovery is looking.
Okay.
Right now it's ugly. We're going to start off middle of the week. We'll get into the earnings. And let
Who's
that
hitting first? Do we know? What's the first major hitter?
JP Morgan. I think we got banks for the first day or two. It's going to be banks. So we'll be looking out for those. Definitely JP Morgan. That's a good tell. I like to see what JP Morgan's doing. They're usually the leader.
JP Morgan is definitely usually the leader. Crazy things with the earnings. I've been one to play options on earnings. Mm-hmm. If I'm thinking, hey, this stock is probably going to report great earnings, I want to jump in a week before with a call option. Because one thing I've noticed, a stock will jump up considerably if they report good earnings. So I always try to get in before that. But I'm not going to lie, that's backfired on me a few times.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
The company. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely a few times, more than a few times. But my thing now is instead of playing through earnings, I'll play up to earnings. So I'll get in early, especially like Apple, what they usually do. You get in a week too early, you ride it up. It'll run up all the way to earnings, right? Get rid of it before earnings, and then because they usually have a sell-off the day after,
Right.
So that's how I try to play it. Now I don't unless it's a long-term hold. I try to just stay out of it when it comes to the earnings.
And the reason why I like to jump in, because it's been so many times, I'll see, hey, this company reported smashing earnings. Now they're up $10-15 pre-market, and then they open up, they're up $20. And I'm always like, shit, why was I not in on this prior to the earnings? So I've seen that happen a few times. Then I'll jump in like, you know what? I'm going to jump in the week before, get a call option that expires that week, that following week of earnings. They'll report record smashing earnings and then tank on me.
Yeah.
and it frustrates me. Because it's almost like every time I see the success story of, hey, earnings hit they shoot up. Then soon as my ass jumps in on one of these earnings plays, as we call them, it backfires. So I really don't know the rhyme or the reason when it comes to successfully playing the earnings that day, which is why your thought process of just playing up to earnings is probably better, because you really don't know. That's what I've learned. It comes down to, you really don't know what's going to happen with these companies after they report earnings. They can smash the earnings, still drop. They can smash the earnings, still go up. It's a gamble.
But you got to think about it, right? People aren't rational. The market's not rational. So you got to look at, right? So it's not just about how they did the last quarter. They're going to give guidance on the next quarter, or maybe they won't. Like, that was the big thing during the pandemic. Companies not giving guidance. So then they drop because they didn't give guidance. What's it matter if they don't give guidance? You've seen if they blew it out the water during the pandemic, what's to say they're not gonna the next quarter? But the market's not rational, right? So you just have this market tank. So that's why my thing is, play it up to earnings, right? Don't FOMO. Don't have that fear of missing out, and play through earnings. Yeah. Wait. And then, or if it's a long-term play, get in ahead of time. And if you're going to hold through earnings, ignore the earnings, whatever you're going to do, I mean, if it has a major run up and you're up 100, 200%, 500%, if you want to sell it. But why sit through that pain unless you go long on a call? If you go buy a leap or something like that, and then it goes down, then all right, cool, let's double down on it. Let's buy some more. It's on sale.
True. True. And when you say a leap, we're pretty much talking about, we want this option that expires a year from now. So It doesn't expire next week. It doesn't expire 2 weeks from now. It's probably going to expire February 2022. That's a leap option, where you're just giving that thing room to breathe for a while.
Right.
So those leaps, I haven't. You know what? I did a leap on Snapchat. Do you recall that? Maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah, you killed that.
That Snap leap, I feel like I made about damn near $6,000 off of that, because it just took off. Like, this was back when Snap was hovering around $9, $10, not really doing much. That thing ended up getting to like $20, or something crazy. And I think my option, I was banking on that thing going up to like 12 or $13, and I had until the following year. Mm-hmm. Next thing I know, that thing's at 12 to $13 2 months later, or less than that. So that was sweet profit. Those leaps come handy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I got, I'm messing with leaps on a few things, but it's just like today's bloody, right? I had a options play I'm in on Lyft, and when I looked at it this morning, I was up 60%, something like that, and I held on to it, because I wasn't ready to get rid of it yet. They ain't really moved. And then I looked at it later on today. I'm down 20%. I'm down 20%. So I said, all right, I'm gonna double down on it before I can get the order, and it jumps back up. I'm like, man, killing me.
Because you were trying to buy on that dip,
right?
Trying to buy back in on the dip, yeah. So talk to me about, and I like how you keep saying you were up 50%, you were down 20%. I know for me, and this is something that you kind of hit me with a while ago, and I started strategizing using this technique. I always look at, I'm probably like most people, I'm looking at how much money am I making from it. If I put in $30, now I see I'm up $40, like, all right, cool. But I've noticed with your strategy, you like to look at the percentage of money you're up.
Right.
that's never been my flavor, but what do you think is the best way to go about taking your profit or minimizing those losses? Like, is it better to just look at a dollar amount? Is it better to look at, all right, this is the percent that I'm down, this is the percent that I'm up? What's the difference, to be honest?
I prefer the percentages, because I mean, you should have your risk reward ahead of time set up, figured out. So if it's all right, if your goal is to make 10%, then when do you get out if you're losing? Is it 2%? Is it 3%? Is it 5%? You should know that before you get into the trade, So my thing is, like, I was up 60%, but I had no intention on selling that right now, because I have a whole thesis behind that trade, right?
Okay.
So I expect that trade to give me 100%, 200%. So it being down 20%, that's fine. I'll sit on that. And like I said, I saw it down 20%. I was like, hey, it's on sale. It's you know, it's a Cyber Monday sale. I'm a buy some more, you know, and I couldn't get in, you know. So now, I'm like, the order's still in. I'm not even gonna look at it until after 4:00. I'll see if I got it. If I got in, cool. You know, if it dipped again, but it ran up before that order could even execute. You know,
okay.
That's my theory on it. Everybody has their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
People they looking at the dollars, but my thing is whether you put in $5 or you put in $100 or 100,000, it's gonna be when you look at it. If you put in $5 and you're up $5, all right, well I'm up $5. No, you're up 100%.
Right. And that's such a huge difference when you look at it from that perspective. It's like, damn, because if you look at the money you're putting into your bank, what's the percentage over a year? What percentage are you gaining off of that money?
Right.
Up 1%, less than that, most likely. So if you're coming in and gaining 100%, though it's $5, that percentage is what you should really be looking at. It's something I need to take into more consideration.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm always looking at the dollar.
Yeah.
How much money am I making off of it?
Right.
Not what percentage of that money am I gaining or losing.
Right.
Because it's just as important for that risk management we talked about, and maybe the last episode, risk management is key.
Right.
So to your point, if you're trying to go in thinking I want to gain 20%, you got to have that strategy in place of what's the percentage I'm willing to lose?
Right.
Because then at that point, you're operating as a smart money investor, smart money trader that we continue to talk about. But that's the whole point. We want to be into that smart money.
Right.
Whether we're making or losing, we got to be minimizing those losses. And minimizing is all about that percentage that you're losing.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a good strategy.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, I looked at it today, right? I was down a few $100s overall on one of my portfolios, right? And so if you're looking at the dollar figure, you could look at that and be like, oh man, I'm down a few $100s. I'm selling everything. But when I looked at I went and I looked at my year to date. I looked at my year to date and it says I'm down 0.3%. So what's $300 overall? What do I care? You know, I'm not worrying about that. You know, I'm just gonna now. I'm down. Now I can go buy some more. That's what I was looking today. I was shopping, trying to find something.
You see anything? I'm looking at NKLA, that electric vehicle. What's going on?
I can't touch. Man, what's up with you in that? I can't touch that company. I'm so good. You know, if we're gonna get into the these you know future tech plays, or not even tech, but you know you're talking hydrogen or you know EVs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now there's an argument to be made for the hydrogen as far as the trucks and stuff go, but if a company can't prove that they're not vaporware, if everything that they do says that they're not real, I'm not messing with them. I mean, not, you know, for a trade, maybe there's something there, but for me, I can't see doing nothing except for shorting it or buying puts. I'm so good on that company. I'm not touching that. I'm waiting for them to just go out of business.
I jumped in on them because I'm looking at them as a top competitor for Tesla.
Nah.
So I'm like, look, I see it, but this is my thought process. Like, I see Tesla. They're trading out. I think they got over 700 today.
Did they?
So they're doing their thing. I believe so.
Okay.
I'm going to check for you as we on this joint right now. They are at 703 right now. So I'm like, okay, what are those primary competitors? I've seen NIO, which I also invest in. I saw NKLA, and I know they had a few issues legally, but I'm like, look, things happen. But if Tesla considers you a competitor, and I'm not even sure Tesla considers them as much as the market in general considered them to be a competitor, I'm like, all right, well, let me dump some money in, even if it takes 2 years. If this thing just gets half of what Tesla is, I'm in the money. So that was kind of my thought process. When I told you I jumped in on NKLA, what did you say? Why?
Yeah.
Why did you get into that? That was your first thing,
right? Because I want to know,
and I called you excited about it.
Yeah, because I need you to explain it to me because I don't see it. That's my thing. I'm not saying don't do it, but explain to me what you see because I don't see it. I could name a bunch of other companies that I'd put my money into before I ever throw my money. For me, it'd be throw my money in the trash and light it on fire. But but before I do that,
that's drastic. Come on, Gets. We ain't gotta be drastic. Let's just talk normal. Come on now.
I'm just saying that's how I feel. That's how I feel about the company. So I'm not touching them.
No doubt. What now? You asked me, what is it that I'm seeing in LA? I just see that they're a competitor for Tesla. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's the main thing I see. What is it that you're seeing that has you looking at them like a company that you're pretty much throwing your money down the drain? Because I don't understand that. Like I thought they was a competitor. Well, it's like kind of like Snapchat and Facebook. Snap's a competitor. Mm-hmm. And again, we had this argument back then,
right? And
you were down. And here's why I also feel comfortable in my LA strategy. Because you told me the same thing about Snap. I don't see it. How are they going to monetize? How are they going to make money? And I held on and I'm mad now because I do not own Snap. And them fools had like 60 something. I had them back at $10. But you were part of the reason why I traded them or sold off because you didn't see it. So for you to tell me you don't see it in NKLA, I feel very good about it. To be honest, I feel great. I might go buy some more right now.
All right, that's
when we get off this thing.
All right, that's a good strategy. No, I'm like I said, after all the controversy with them, my thing is, like I always said before, is show and prove, right? So yeah. They had all the controversy, but they haven't shown me anything else. They haven't shown me that they have actually any technology of their own. The deal didn't work out with GM. Everything that they had going for them went away. So my thing is now, before I can invest in you, I need you to show me that you are something besides vaporware. Until you can do that, I'm not going to touch you. Because there's other things that it's not like they're selling anything. They're not doing anything yet. So instead of putting my money into them, I could put my money into NIO. I could put my money into Xpeng. I could put my money into Li Auto. I could put my money into Tesla, right? All right, we want to go to hydrogen. All right, cool. I'll put my money in Plug Power. I'll put my money into there's so many other companies. Matter of fact, we could go with the conventional ICE motors as far as the trucks, because that was their main thing, going after trucks, right? All right, so now I can go put money into Cummins, who makes engines, but I believe they have something they're working on as far as I think it's EV. They might be doing with something with hydrogen too, as far as the Class 8 trucks and stuff like that. There's a bunch of other companies in the space. I think there's another one, NGA, which is going to be, I think, Lion Automotive. They're doing school buses. There's so many other companies that have so much more that they're actually showing. They're showing the technology. Proterra, ACTC, that's a SPAC that's going to be Proterra. They're
a SPAC. Whoa, bring it back. Come rewind. What is a SPAC?
Yeah, special.
Stay throwing out these terms.
I'm sorry. It's a special acquisition company. So it's a blank check company, right? That's gonna put money into another company to bring them public, right? So that was the big thing last year and all that. Whatever. Everybody was throwing money into these SPACs. But if you look at, since we talking about that space, you talking about Class 8 trucks, the big 18-wheelers and stuff like that. Proterra's a company that makes buses. They're doing trucks. They do the batteries. They got a deal with I think it's Komatsu or something like that to do electric construction equipment. So all right, okay. They're doing all that. But I'm gonna go over here and put my money into Nikola? No, I'm good.
But when you break it down like that, it makes sense. So I can't even be mad at you. I might want to look into some of those companies because you mentioned, what was it, Coterra?
Proterra.
Proterra, yeah, you mentioned that one to me before too.
Yeah.
So I might check them out because one thing about me, I want to get heavily invested into these sectors for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Which, with regards to electric vehicles, hydrogen, fuel cells, all that, I want my portfolio, I want a separate entity in my portfolio strictly for those future innovators.
Right.
Because that's kind of where it's almost like the gold rush. Like you want to get in early so when it explodes, you can cake up.
Right.
That's the overall that's what I want to see happen. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day.
Right.
But I'm trying to always expand and get into some of these newer strategies. I had something I wanted to bring up. Best Buy and Amazon, because we're talking about competitors.
Mm-hmm.
We put something out there on our Instagram and our Facebook. If you're not following us, you're slacking. Instagram is IB_Gets_podcast. So we put something out about Best Buy. They're now transitioning into a membership kind of a platform where they're gonna allow you to buy in $200 for an annual membership similar to Amazon Prime.
Right.
And this membership is going to include concierge tech support, device installation, other perks. That caught my attention and our attention, which is why we put it out there, because I'm wondering, okay, is this going to push Best Buy forward in terms of that stock price? Because Amazon's at, I don't even know what Amazon is at right now, over $1,000. Amazon's something crazy.
Yeah, aren't they? I think they were like a few thousand or something. They were up there.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's something crazy. Best Buy's, I don't even think that's over $100 right now.
Yeah,
it could be.
Amazon's $33.80, about that right now.
Okay, so yes, they're way up there. So I'm wondering, this new practice that Best Buy is operating in, kind of trying to mirror Amazon. Do we think that's something now we need to look into buying Best Buy, or is this just a futile attempt at becoming a competitor of a giant that they have no reasonable expectation to compete with? And that's why we put it out there in the social media, right, to see what everybody thinks.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's futile, because I mean I've actually been a fan of Best Buy for a little bit lately. I actually today I ordered something from Best Buy. I got same day delivery. Ordered it this morning. It showed up to my house this afternoon. So yeah, so they've already been making the strides. And the stock has done well because of it. I like a lot of the stuff that they're doing, and I feel like you still need those brick and mortars, but maybe you don't need the huge brick and mortar like you had in the past.
Okay.
And I think Best Buy is actually testing out smaller stores. So, if they could figure out how to that space, how they want to go between having the brick and mortar and doing the e-commerce. I see. If I feel like they're figuring it out, if they keep working on that, then I think they'll be all right. And it's not just about the stock price; it's about the market cap. So we got to keep that in mind too. Because if you, because you can have a stock that's $3,000 and a stock that's $100, but they have the same market cap, depending on how many shares outstanding they have, right? So you can't just look at the stock price. Not saying that these two are anywhere near each other, because Amazon is over $1 trillion, I believe. And Best Buy, I don't even know what they're at right now, but I'm pretty sure they nowhere near that. But I like what they're doing, So I would consider them as far as a retail play goes,
I'm just wondering if that's valuable though, having this like who's really going to spend $200 on an annual membership? So just in case your laptop breaks down, you can take it to the Geek Squad for free.
Yeah, I mean,
how often are you really using that to make it something worthwhile? Like people on Amazon Prime, I know for me, I'm always using Amazon, having something delivered,
right?
Buying stuff constantly. I couldn't tell you the last time I was in Best Buy, I think I needed a new laptop, but that's every year or two,
right?
So I mean, I'm just not sure if they're putting in place the kind of perks that are going to keep people coming on a consistent basis to make it worth this new business model of $200 annual membership.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not really sure.
I think we need to get all the details.
That's going to make a change.
Yeah, I think
that's true.
All the details on what they're offering for what you're getting. Because I mean, like when I had that item delivered today, they didn't charge me nothing. So I'm like, I have the Best Buy rewards, but I'm like, I don't know if it was free because of that or if it was just free because it was free. I don't know. They haven't made that it's not all clear what exactly is going to be an offering. That was what we put out, that was information we had, but I want to see what is Best Buy actually going to offer. We got to know that. Same thing Walmart's doing a bunch of stuff with that. They're competing big with Amazon with the 2-day, same day grocery delivery. They're doing all that stuff too.
I didn't even realize Walmart was doing that.
Yeah, Walmart's got all that stuff, and they got they have a membership program. I think it's cheaper than Amazon, And since they already have stores all across the country, you have your warehouse. You got to.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So, so I think we got to look at the companies who are trying to innovate. We need to give them a chance and look at what they're actually doing before we just write them off. Because every time a company every time Amazon does something, it's always, Amazon's, they're the killer. So they come in, they're gonna take over an industry and this and that. But it's not always gonna work that way.
True.
If you get the right person, you get the right management, then Amazon could go away just like Sears did. If you get a competitor that out innovates them,
Who's out innovating Amazon? Amazon is the Goliath.
They are.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah, but so is Sears.
Did we consider Sears a giant?
Sears
you go and you buy some stuff, but
Sears at one.
But what do they really offer?
No, not
to make it a giant.
Not right now. But Sears at one point was, I think at one point they were the largest company in the country.
Really?
So what are you saying? If you're saying that Amazon can't be beat, I'm sure somebody said that about Sears.
No, that's true. That's true. Amazon just seems like such a giant because of all the different, like they bought out Whole Foods.
Yeah.
They're doing food delivery. You can, you got your Prime membership.
Yep.
You pay for things online. You can go into the stores. Like, it's so much.
Yeah, they're in the pharmaceuticals. They bought PillPack. So
they're in everything.
Yeah.
They're even giving jobs to like the independent contractor that just wants to come in and be an Amazon delivery driver.
Right.
Like, they found so many different ways to monetize. I don't understand how. I don't see any company coming in and monetizing on the level of an Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, and they're actually creating not just jobs, but they're creating businesses, because that was another thing they did. They said, come to us, we'll give you, $10,000 to start your delivery business. Instead of just working for us, we'll give you money to start your delivery business. So, and you know what I mean? So, but that's the thing. As long as they out innovate everybody, they'll be number one. When that's no longer the case, then you'll see something change.
Right.
But just because it's not the case today doesn't mean it won't be the case tomorrow. You always gotta keep that in mind. It's the same reason that they, like Jeff Bezos, he calls it day one. Their thing at Amazon, which is one of the reasons why I think that they stay where they are, is every day is day one. Right? So every day you're as hungry as the first day.
That's what keeps you innovating. That's what keeps you generating new ideas, new concepts. Right. So I mean, you've got to be hungry.
Yeah, they in everything.
That's how they should be if they're going to remain a giant. Something else that caught my attention, and I think this happened last week as well, Southwest Airlines. And I think I was excited about this one because me, just like you and just like the rest of the country, we've kind of been in this COVID-19, being impacted, not doing as much travel, wearing the mask. It's a whole thing that we've all endured over the last 2 years now. But it looked like they're now recalling. They just recalled 209 pilots from voluntary leave. So they're trying to have them all come back and return to active duty June 1. So when I see that, it looks like they're anticipating, hey, a lot of these restrictions are already being lifted. People are about to be doing a lot of traveling. Right. So when I see something like that, one, I'm upset because, as I mentioned in one of the last podcasts, I bought American Airlines, I bought Delta, I bought all these cruise lines. Southwest was the one I did not buy.
And this is the one I bought.
So I'm a little frustrated. Oh, and that's the one
I bought. Yeah, I love Southwest. And I actually keep track of the TSA numbers, and I'm actually looking at them now. We've been over 1 million travelers a day since the middle of March, which we hadn't seen. Every now and then it would hit that number. But so we're not at 2019 levels, right? Because that's what we got to go against. 2020, we had the pandemic. So 2019 numbers, we were over 2 million a day, right? So right now we're already over 1 million a day for the 11th. It's 1.5 million for the 11th. compared to almost 2.5 million for 2019. So we're getting there. You know, we're more than.
So people out there moving again. People feeling good.
Yeah. So that's why now's the time. Now you get into the recovery and everything. That's why I got into Southwest a little while ago. I love Southwest right now. Mm-hmm. You know, because I'm like, that's a kind of a budget airline, but people still love it. You know, they offer.
When you say a budget airline,
they're not charging you. I mean, even though I think prices are going to be crazy, but they're a cheaper local airline. You know, to take you to more of the local destinations. You know, they're not as low. They're not budget like Spirit. You know, but
man, Spirit is horrible. I hate. Well, I've never done Spirit, but the stories I've heard from Spirit. I'm sorry, Spirit. We do not need you as an advertiser for the Stocks and Talking podcast with Ibn Getz, because from what I hear, they're gonna charge you for every single bag. They're gonna hit you over the head, and that's how they get you. Because from what I heard, Spirit Airlines, they'll give you a great ticket price. Like, oh shit, I can go to Miami for $50. Then by the time it's all said and done, you're paying $450, and this is an exaggeration, but not really, because they're gonna hit you over the head with so many fees, taxes. Oh, we're gonna charge you for this. We're gonna charge you for that. So yeah, I've just heard Spirit.
Yeah. But you know, and that's how the airlines. That's how they all made money. Remember, there was a time when the airlines were hurting, and then they came up with the idea of charging for the carry-ons and this and all these different fees. You know, and then their earnings exploded. They started making all this money. You know, but for 2020. They were all hurting because they went out spending money. They're increasing the dividends. They're doing share buybacks. You know, they're paying the executives all this money. So when the pandemic hit, they didn't have no money. That's why they had to go to the government. So my thing, when I look at them, you know, they got this money from the government, but I look at the debt levels too. And I actually was just looking at Southwest debt levels, and I think their debt was at like 12 or 13 billion, and their cash was around the same. So I'm like, they're in a good spot, you know. So, and now you get the travelers. I'm like, all right, if you are in a position where you're, you know, you can afford your debt and you're almost back to the levels you were at, then that means you're going to be able to service your debt. You're going to be able to pay that down. You're going to be all right, you know, where somebody else might not be, you know. So that's why I got into Southwest. I'm feeling Southwest. I'm sticking with them right now, you know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I might look into. I'm gonna check out their price point, see if it's worth me jumping in on. Add to my travel airline budget. Right. Speaking of budget, that was a perfect segue. I ain't even planned that. Perfect segue, because an hour ago, some news hit that the U.S. budget deficit hits record high for March as aid swells outlays. That's what the headline reads. I feel like they had some typos in the headline. But bottom line, the deficit hit a record high in March. And it just so happened to be right as Biden's dropping all these stimulus packages, the stimulus money to people. So it's almost like a catch-22, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it's like they're giving out all this money to help in aid for people, but now our deficit is our budget is at a deficit is at a record high.
That's to be expected, though. You look, I mean, with all the stimulus, all the stuff they did, right? I mean, what do you expect? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is why people are worried about inflation, you know, because you printing money. You printing money nonstop. That's all they're doing.
Yep. So, and I think this is kind of it's kind of that scenario of we're paying attention to the present, not really worrying about how it's going to affect the future. Because everybody wants those stimmies. That's a buzzword. Where's my stimmy? And I ain't gonna hold you. I just got mine a couple weeks ago, and I was very happy. I was pleased by that. But then we look at something like this, where now we're at a record, you know, deficit budget, whatever you want to say. So then, how are we gonna come up out of that? How is that gonna affect us in the future? Are taxes getting raised to get us out of it? And honestly, I don't even know. I'm not an economist. I don't know what that looks like, but I just know this headline came out. We're in a record, hit a record for a deficit.
Yeah, I mean, I know they say the argument for it is because the interest is so low that debt is cheap, so now's the time to take on the debt, right? And last time, one of the last times Biden spoke, he said that he wasn't planning on paying for it with new taxes, even though he's talking about raising taxes. So, but I'm like, I feel like he's talking out both sides, because I'm like, how do you give out all this money, right? And then you come out and say, all right, now there's gonna be another 2 to 4 trillion for infrastructure. How are you gonna do all that? You're not gonna raise taxes. I mean, you already have debt that you need to service, right? Because this country is in debt, just like the people are in debt. The country thinks it's okay to live beyond its means, just like people do. So at some point you can't kick the can down the road no more. You got to pay the debt. So my thing is just who's gonna pay it and when. I mean, a day of reckoning is gonna come. It got to be dealt with.
Exactly. And how are the people gonna respond to that? Those same people that I was looking out for the stimmies, is it even gonna affect the common folks? Those questions.
I can't see how it doesn't. I mean, who? This is the world we live in, right? The rich get richer and the poor get nothing. So I don't see that changing. How is it not going to affect the everyday man, the common folk, the middle America and all that? Or most of this country's income comes from middle America. So who's paying the debt? It ain't going to be the billionaires, and they keep talking about they're going to raise taxes and do all this stuff. It ain't going to be them. It's all of us who get up and go to work every day. We got to pay it, and our kids got to pay it.
Yep.
And their kids got to pay it.
all for the sake of getting a stimmy for 1 month. And this is the ramifications of that 1 or 2 stimmies we wanted. Now our damn kids gotta be going through the trials and tribulations of our damn.
Oh man, yep. Enjoy it while it lasts. Don't spend it all in one place.
Facts. And invested, people. Great segue. Gets and invested somewhere, somehow. Again, we are not advisors, financial advisors, so we can't tell you how to spend your money. We can just have sessions like this today. We're just talking through what's going on in the markets, what's the hottest news, and make a good rational judgment from that. But yeah, man, invest that stimmy. Take at least 100 to 200 and consider putting it into something that can make money for you. Because at the end of the day,
you had this whole Bloody Monday. You could have put it in the market today,
Yeah. There was a major sale. People are always talking about Black Friday. They're ready to go shopping. You need to look at these days when the market is bloody red. That's a Black Friday. That's a Black Friday sale. That's how that smart money gets smarter and richer. They jump in on the sales.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by CyberGuys IT Solutions. CyberGuys IT Solutions is a technology support services company offering a wide variety of IT solutions for both business and residential clients. Whether it's file and print management, malware prevention and removal, network monitoring and maintenance, as well as software and hardware installation and troubleshooting, CyberGuys IT Solutions is the premier company for all of your information technology needs. Contact CyberGuys IT Solutions today to get started. www.cyberguysdmv.com. At the end of the day, we're all collecting stimmies. We're getting this money. We're excited about it. We're happy when we see the check come in the mail. But we've got to be able to find a way to not just splurge it all to where that $1,400 now becomes zero and we really have to show for it. We've got to find ways to, even if it's not investing in stocks, investing into something that allows that thing to grow. So you go from $1,400 to $1,500. That's a slight increase from $1,500 to $1,600. Just small, slow, incremental gains.
Beat the bank.
Beat the bank. instead of getting a little point one interest or whatever those interest rates are, I know it ain't a lot. Instead of that, add some real value to the money that you got coming in. That's all I'm saying. And to be honest, and here's something we haven't touched on, but I'm gonna just bring it up: cryptocurrencies. I'm not gonna lie, Gets. I don't really know what it is, but I know it's the wave of the future. So I've been investing. I've been dropping some money in a few different cryptos because it's all I hear people talking about.
Right.
I mentioned the gold rush earlier. I feel like this is our gold rush. Everybody's coming in mining that crypto. It's just like the gold rush. They were mining for gold. Now we're mining for crypto. And I want to be a part of that wave when it blows up years from now. If all of a sudden, at some point, we're no longer using debit cards with cash, but it's debit cards with crypto, I'm trying to be in that wave early.
Yeah.
So I jumped in. I think actually I'm making a little money off of XRP, which again, I don't even know what XRP is. I guess with cryptos, it's just honest. This is honest talk. Cryptos, I guess they all have a different function that they operate under. I just follow the trends and I see people talking about certain ones and I jump in. And everything I've jumped in so far, I'm up on. I think I have XRP, ADA, Bitcoin. I put in like 700 on Bitcoin a while back. They're up to $60,000 today. I got them at like 49,000. So
Okay.
they're making me some money. And Doge, I think a lot of people heard about the Doge wave. I jumped in on that wave.
Yeah,
But I don't really understand it. Go for it.
Yeah, no, that wave with Dogecoin was crazy. Yeah, I was in that. I mean, I invested in a little bit. I was in that when it was well below a penny, and then I made some money and I got out of it. Like you said, all of them have a utility. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I still don't fully understand it. You got to get somebody to explain it to us. But I dibble and dabble here and there. XRP, that was one. I mean, now today it's $1.39, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was in that at 40 cents or something like that, and I got rid of it after the SEC lawsuit. But Ripple, the only reason I invested in them because I actually studied the company. The
XRP company or Ripple?
Ripple, the company.
So what is Ripple? I've heard of it.
Yeah, Ripple's the company behind XRP. And it's a financial company, and they came up with a way to move money quicker, and XRP was the token for that utility. So that was
okay.
After doing some research, and they had to deal with MoneyGram and a few other companies. I think MoneyGram actually they did some kind of deal where they actually ended up with a stake in MoneyGram. I don't think they had to pay him for it. I think it was just part of that deal for their technology. But when the SEC lawsuit hit, then everybody severed ties with them. MoneyGram saying they don't have nothing to do with them. They never used the technology, this and that. But I'm like, you were singing a whole different tune not too long ago,
Right.
So I just jumped out, because I was just like, I don't, even though I didn't agree with the lawsuit and how it was handled, I just rather put my money somewhere else, let it work.
Yeah, it was bad news. You had no way of knowing that thing was going to turn around.
Yeah,
and go to $1.39 when the SEC gets involved and there's a lawsuit. So,
but
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but if you actually taking the time, I mean, it depends on if you're willing to risk it or not, And at that time, I just felt my money could work somewhere else. So, but my thing is, when I was looking at it, only in the U.S. was it delisted. It was only in the U.S. where it was an issue for you to buy it. All over the rest of the world, and this is another way to figure out how to make your trades, is using social media and things like that. People all over the world were talking about XRP still.
Right.
So there was still a catalyst for it to continue. But I felt like instead of my money sitting here stagnant and losing value, I move it somewhere else. And I think I actually bought Bitcoin with it and like doubled or tripled that money. So it was like, instead of it being stagnant, I'll just move it over somewhere else and make something on it. Okay. And that was my thing, so because at the time I planned on it being an investment. I expected it to go to $1, $5, $10, something like that. But
man, I promise you, if this thing hits Bitcoin numbers, I'm quitting everything. When I run my own business, I'm quitting everything. Me and my fiance will live on an island and we will live on vacation. Cause please come through and we will continue the podcast as wealthy, rich podcasters and just do this thing for fun. But let this thing go to Bitcoin numbers. It's a wrap. It's 25 million. I did the calculation.
Okay.
I'm making 25 million if it happens.
Okay.
That's wishful thinking, but hey man, it happens every day.
Yeah,
people get rich every day, B. I'm just trying to be one of them.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at my thing is you look at there's so many different coins, and you look at the market caps on these coins, and you look at like Bitcoin's at around $1 trillion. You know, the overall market's at $2 trillion. So you're talking about Bitcoin is half of the market cap of crypto in general. Yeah, you know, so I mean the potential's there, but I don't know what the market cap is on XRP. I'm gonna try and find out, but I think it's around 10 billion. Actually, it's probably more now. But my thing I worry about is trying to figure that out. Like they all have this different utility, and then you look at the market cap. I actually been looking at like cheaper coins, like micro cap coins lately. I don't have nothing specific, but that's what I've been looking at, stuff that's still in the millions, you know.
Okay.
You know, 30 million, 40 million, you know, because I'm like, you got the small market cap. It's easier to manipulate, right? The overall market of that coin is so small, it can make the moves that Bitcoin used to make. Where Bitcoin is so big now, you know, it's going to be harder to move it. It's harder to manipulate the price. Right. Not saying that it can't grow more, you know, because I mean, there's a good chance it keeps going higher.
I mean, they're saying they're expecting it to hit 100,000.
Yeah, I've heard people say 100. I hear 100 this year, and then it's going to go to 2 and then 4. But I'm just saying it's not going to be the move that it was before. I think it would be very hard to move it as quick, right? Because I remember.
Right, so it's going to be a slow grinder.
Right. I remember the day it went to 20. I remember having a conversation with somebody the day before. It was at 13. And I just read the chart and I said, you know, this looks like it's gonna have a run, you know. And the next day it hit 20. And then, you know, it dropped back down. It went all the way to what, 3 or 5 or whatever it was, right? And now it's been grinding its way back up. And then it had the sharp move up, you know, because it made its way up to 20. And then it ran up to the 30s, you know, and then
we're talking thousands, so 20,000, 30,000.
Right. And now you got it sitting at 60,000, you know. But
so where were you looking at the chart at for Bitcoin?
I forget what
platform.
I forget what I was looking at it on, but now it's on so many platforms. You know, now you have, you know, a lot of them. I don't like looking at charts on them. You know, Robinhood, you know, they have their charts, you can buy it there and everything. I don't like their stuff. But some of the brokers that now allow it, like Webull and stuff like that, when you look at it on there, you can actually look at the chart like the same way you look at a stock.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I need to be able to look at it the same way I look at a stock. I need to see it so I can see the support levels, the resistance levels, so I can chart it out, you know?
Absolutely. Use those you using the candlesticks too.
Yeah, use the candlesticks. Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I wanted to do a little bit of research because you mentioned utility. And like I said, this crypto thing is a new wave for both of us. And I think it's a new wave for everybody, which makes it exciting and scary at the same time, because we don't know what's going to happen with crypto in 2 to 3 years. Crypto can get shut down and disappear, or crypto can be the biggest boom we've ever seen, and all we use is cryptocurrency. Yeah. And those people that invested in it early will reap the benefits, but we really don't know, which is the exciting and scary thing about it. But I'm looking at XRP, and what I'm seeing is it's a token used for representing the transfer of value across the Ripple network. The main purpose of XRP is to be a mediator for other both cryptocurrencies and fiat exchanges. I don't know what that is. The best way to describe XRP is a joker, meaning that the card can be used as any other card. That's what I just looked up on this site.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it, but it helps you understand what, because we mentioned the Ripple network,
Right.
which I think the next thing to do is look into what Ripple is. But I guess you've done some research, or you know what Ripple is about, because I'm not even familiar with Ripple outside of XRP being affiliated. So I don't know how it's all tied in until I just read that, which makes sense. But this whole crypto thing is it's just nuanced, man.
Yeah.
It's nuanced, but I know I just want my money in it just in case it blows up.
Yeah. I like I said, I'll dibble and dabble. You know, I'm a little more risk averse. I'm getting a little older, but
Come on, cuz.
Yeah, but I just don't. Until I understand it the way that I understand the stock market, I won't put the same kind of money into it. You know.
Yeah.
And I try. You know, I've got.
Don't miss the wave, cuz.
I
mean, you know, don't miss it now.
Yeah. I mean, but even with what I got in, if there's these big moves, you know, right, what I got in is still going to earn me something. You know, just like I said, when I moved money over from XRP to Bitcoin, and I doubled, tripled it, whatever, you know, it did fine by me. You know, I got no complaints with what I did off that. You know, and that money's still invested in crypto.
Okay.
You know, but now it's just more money invested in crypto. You know, I didn't have to take it out of my pocket.
There you go.
You know, so I let the money work.
Speaking of taking it out your pocket, I just saw at a gas station up the street from me, they have a Bitcoin ATM.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, I seen one the other day.
And it's like, when I see something like that, I'm like, oh yeah, crypto is that wave for real. Because now it's showing me that these gas stations and major companies, because I think Tesla, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the research guru, I think Tesla just became like the first major US company that's actually accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment.
Yeah, they're accepting.
Did Elon not say that?
Yeah, he did. They just started accepting it.
That's why, I mean, so when I see something like that, I'm wondering, I know Bitcoin is kind of taking off, but at what point are some of these other cryptos now going to be accepted as forms of payment?
Well,
and which one is it?
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's the whole thing. That's my thing. You look at it and then you see all these different utilities for everything, and it's like, so which one's going to be that one? You know, and I don't fully understand it. So I mean, I've seen other ones that are good for payment networks, and I see some that are good for, you know, I saw one that's like the Google of crypto and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, and it's like I'm looking at them and I'm trying to understand it. Like I said, I'll dibble and dabble. I'll put a little something in it, you know, but I'm not going crazy with it like I do in the stock market, because I don't understand it, you know.
So when you said, because you just said something that struck a chord in my head, because when I think Google, I think multi-billion-dollar company. So when you tell me that there's a crypto that's like the Google of crypto, I'm very curious as to which one that is, so I can jump in. Do you remember what crypto it was?
I think it is GRT. I think it's Graph. Yeah, I believe that's
GRT.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard of that one. I feel like you mentioned that one to me a while ago.
Yeah, it was mentioned to me, and I've read about it. Like I said, still don't fully understand it, so I ain't doing nothing crazy with it. I think I might have a couple of dollars in it. That's also another thing, is that's how I track stocks. So it's also how I track crypto. I'll buy a share or whatever, and then it's on my watch list, and I can see movements, and now I can start figuring out what I want to do with it, you know.
Right.
And just like, you know, we talked about, I've told you about it before with, I don't know if I ever explained it that way, but like we talked about it with Home Depot, where it was like, I have the stock over here, but then I keep making option plays. You know, I keep buying and selling calls depending on, but it's because I'm tracking it, you know, because I own it. So I'm watching it in the portfolio. I don't have to go through the watch list. It's in the portfolio. And I'm seeing, okay, I'm up 10% today. I'm down 5%, and just figure out what I'm doing. The same thing. I get alerts on the phone for all the different cryptos I have and this and that, you know. so I can see how they're moving. If I see something keeps running up and hitting a level, like Bitcoin keeps hitting that 60,000. Okay, well that's a level of resistance. It's having trouble getting through that. So when I see it drop down and hit 54, all right, well maybe I'm gonna buy it. If it's hitting 54 or I see the levels of support because I'm tracking it.
Yep.
So I'm gonna start buying in. And maybe I dollar cost average in as it's just starting to drop off. Maybe I start putting a little money at a time, right? And as it's dropping, now my average cost is going down, but I have enough conviction in it going back up.
Because you studied it, the patterns,
right? So that's another way to do it. And so instead of I'm not freaking out if I see if I get an alert that says Bitcoin or ADA or Ethereum or any of them, if it's down 5%, 10%, even if it says it's down 20%, then you might see me dump a bunch of money.
Right.
Because I'm like, it ain't gonna stay there.
Actually, I had to that point. I had my fiance because she dibbles and dabbles with me. Mainly, we were doing Forex, which that's a whole nother topic we'll get into.
Mm-hmm.
But Bitcoin had dropped a good 12-13% a few weeks ago. I said, hey, sweetheart, like now's the time. Maybe jump in $50 to $100. You can get it right on Cash App. Cash App, if you're listening to this is the Starks is Talking podcast with Ibn Getz. Come be a sponsor. We're going to blow up. You need to be a part of that wave. However, I said jump in on Cash App. Now it's up to $60,000.
Right.
She put in $100 and she's already making a return on that investment because, again, to your point, if you see that thing dump a good amount of a percentage, that's when you want to buy it.
Right. If you got conviction in it.
If you got conviction in it. And I have conviction in Bitcoin because, again, I just saw the ATM up the street, the Bitcoin ATM.
Yeah.
That's something that eventually I feel like is going to be a normalcy.
Yeah.
Where you just see these Bitcoin ATMs all over the place. And hopefully I'll see some ATMs for Ethereum. That's the other one that I purchased, that I bought into. And I'm actually looking at Investopedia right now. They have that as their number one crypto outside of Bitcoin.
Right.
It's Ethereum.
Yeah.
And they're saying the goal behind Ethereum is to create a decentralized suite of financial products that anyone in the world can have free access to, regardless of nationality, ethnicity, or faith. So they're saying a lot there, and I'm still confused. I'm not gonna lie on how these cryptos work. Even in reading that from Investopedia, I don't really know what that means, but I know they're number one on this list outside of Bitcoin.
Right.
I mean, I bought into them before I saw that, but I think you might have mentioned Ethereum to me a while ago.
I bought into that too, and I think Ethereum. See, with Bitcoin, I don't really see a lot of the utility with it. They talk about how slow the transactions are, how much they cost and everything. With Ethereum, I hear some of the same comments, even though they talk about Ethereum 2.0, how it's going to get faster, cheaper, and all that. But my thing with Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, you see the ATMs, so it's kind of like it's kind of a proof of concept, right? So now you see the ATM, you're like, okay, Bitcoin's not going nowhere, right? I see Ethereum and I see the NFT art and stuff that people are selling, and that's all on the Ethereum on the blockchain and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well now somebody just paid $69 million for a piece of artwork that they can't hold, and that's over the Ethereum. As far as the way I understand it, it's on that network. Okay, so Ethereum's not going nowhere,
Okay.
So, so that's and Ethereum, is what, $2,000. I don't know what the market cap is on. Oh, you know what? I was just looking at it. The market cap was like 200 billion on Ethereum, I think.
Now, when we say market cap, what exactly are we referring to? Like that's that market for Ethereum is worth $2 billion, $2 trillion.
I think it's 200 billion for Ethereum.
200 billion.
Yeah, so you're talking about like 250 billion. So because you're saying you have so many coins, just like with the stock market, you got so many shares available, right? And it's however many are available times the cost.
Okay.
And that gives you your market cap. So that's your total, what it's all worth.
Mm. So to that point, and I know before we had a conversation on Doge back when I first bought maybe about a month or two ago, and you mentioned that you were kind of confused at the wave of Doge because there's no cap to how many coins can be created. They just keep creating them and creating them and creating them.
Right.
How if we're looking at Doge, how do we even look at investing in that if there's just no cap? Does that mean there's just no cap in terms of how much money you can make off of it? Or is at some point they're just going to stop and say, you know what?
Well,
we're not doing Doge anymore.
They say they're going to upgrade it so that it won't be an unlimited supply. But my thing is, if you have right now, it's unlimited, right? So you can keep creating the coins every day, right? So as the coins are created, that's going to dilute the value of the coins that are available. It's the same thing if you have a company comes out and says, we're going to issue 100 million new shares. Well, they just pulled that out their ass. They didn't have 100 million new shares before to just add. They just created that. So now you're saying, all right, so now you got to add that to the total supply. So now that supply the value is going to come down, you know?
Right.
So it's the same thing. You have these coins dropping out of thin air like it's Mario or something. You know?
I like that visual, guys.
Yeah. So you're diluting it. You know, you're diluting it. So that's my thing. And it was crazy. See, my issue is you have all these people who are famous for whatever, right? You have, Elon Musk, you have Mark Cuban, all these people, they'll talk about Doge, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and it's great because it brings some authenticity in a way to some of these things for people that were unsure. They're like, okay, you're talking about it, so this is a real thing, right? But I'd rather they just shut up because you're pumping the markets. Let the market
pump and dump.
Yeah, let the markets do what they'll do. Stay out of it. Just be quiet. If you're holding it, cool. Just hold it. Because now if you're holding it and you're out here saying whatever you got to say, and it runs up, and then okay, now you're quiet. So did you sell it? What are you doing?
They're selling. That's the classic pump and dump.
Right.
I feel like 50 Cent, and I love his music. I feel like he did a pump and dump. Do you remember HNHI? I believe was the stop. It was like some type of water company or something.
No.
It wasn't the vitamin water. It was this thing HNHI where he had tweeted about it. Like, yeah, something about this company. I went and bought in on it. A bunch of people bought in on that thing, and all of a sudden that shit tanked like a week later and went out of business. But he had made like $10 million in a day.
Of course he did.
Off of that tweet, the classic pump and dump. And I happened to fall into that trap because I'm like, if 50's tweeting about it, let me go on and buy in.
Right.
A week later, gone.
Yeah.
And he made bank.
Yeah.
So, to your point about the cryptos, that's the same thing they're all doing.
Right.
Yeah,
that's why I don't like that. Same way. I mean, if it was a stock market, and when Elon Musk says something crazy about Tesla, then the SEC goes after him. He got to pay his fines and this and that. I feel like they just be taxing people. They don't really care, but whatever. But he's out here saying stuff about crypto, and instead of it being an issue, people are cheering it. But it's like, just let the markets do what they do. Stay out of it.
But also with the crypto, it's not regulated, right? So there's nothing the SEC or anyone can say to him for pumping the crypto, or do I have that wrong?
I mean, well, you got the whole thing that happened with XRP. I feel like there is some kind of regulation, Right now, they're not securities. Well, except for XRP, they're trying to say it's a security. I mean, there's not a whole lot of regulation to it. The brokers or exchanges, they have regulations they got to follow because they're handling money, But yeah, there's not a lot of regulation. But do you want to start getting stuff banned? You want to run into those issues?
Right.
I feel like they, maybe that's a touchy subject and it won't happen just because, all the central banks want to create their own cryptos now. want a piece too, you know.
Yep.
But you think the right people won't come up with a way to say you're not legit, but we are? Like, come on.
True. And you brought up a good point when you mentioned that some of the brokers have a certain level of regulation. I think it's key just to, as we're bringing up crypto, there's a lot of folks out here that they've heard about the wave just like we've heard about the wave, but they don't really know how to buy in. Again, we're not giving you like, hey, use this platform. I'm just going to throw out a couple platforms that I've used, that I purchased crypto. Do your due diligence, do your research to make sure you're comfortable before making any purchases with any of these platforms. But right now I use Uphold. That's how I got XRP. Because I know XRP wasn't listed on a few platforms, but Uphold it was on, and I have ADA, which that's the symbol, but the crypto is Cardano. So I have Cardano and what other one was it? Cardano and XRP, that's on Uphold. Robinhood, which you've discussed before, I have my Doge and my I have Doge and Ethereum on Robinhood. Right. So I like what they're doing so far. And then for my Bitcoin, I'm just using Cash App.
Okay.
Which, you know, I didn't even know they allowed you to purchase stocks or anything until one day I got on Cash App and I saw where they said, "Oh, you can buy Bitcoin here." And I said, "Okay, well, let me buy a couple hundred."
So did you buy more of the Square stock when you figured that out?
I did not, but I still have my Square. I think I have like 6 shares, because as you know, I had 60 shares at one point at what, $9. Now Square is up to damn near it's not damn near, it's like 200 something.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it lately, but yeah, man, I'm still holding strong though, so I am making a nice profit off of it. But yes, I wish I would have held on to those 60 shares to begin with, and I would have been super good.
And you know what? Since we speaking on that, right? Because if you think about it, Square offering Bitcoin and Ethereum, or you know, even offering the stocks, that's a catalyst for the company, right? That's a reason why the company should do better. And so, speaking on that subject, Coinbase IPO is coming up on the 14th.
Coinbase IPO. Coinbase, that's another platform where you can buy crypto.
That's a crypto exchange. That's a big one. I actually just listened to, they had a call. It's weird because they're not public yet, but they actually did like an earnings call. I was listening to it earlier today. It was real short and sweet, but the numbers were crazy. Okay. I mean, the amount of money, the amount of money that is coming into that company is bananas. I mean, they're talking about the company is going to come out worth $100 billion out the gate.
Damn.
Yeah, big numbers. They're already turning a profit. I mean, and they say it. You know, it depends.
Oh, they're already turning a profit. That's huge. That's huge because most companies, it's going to take a couple years to turn a profit, which is why you were so down on Snap, because you saw no way for them to actually monetize the platform. Because I saw what
Facebook was about to do, which they survived. Right. You ain't got to keep bringing it
up. Because I'm still mad I got out of them. But the point is, for Coinbase to already be turning a profit before the IPO, so what you doing? You gonna jump in on?
I don't like playing IPOs, but I may buy a little bit to track it. I like to wait. Wait for the IPOs to settle down. You know, I'd rather wait for it to settle down, and then, you know, buy in. Maybe I'm not gonna worry about FOMO. So if
I ain't gonna lie. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I miss out and it just runs up and it don't come back down, it is what it is. But at the same time, we had this conversation about Airbnb, and I said I was gonna wait, and Airbnb just kept running and running and running. But now the stock's been coming down, you know. So it just is what it is. Like I don't mind waiting, and you know, I just got to see what it's gonna do. I don't like overpaying. I don't like buying into hype. I'd rather let it settle.
Here's my concern with Coinbase, and not concern in terms of the stock itself. My concern with the FOMO aspect. I feel like Coinbase, because we're talking crypto, and crypto seems to be this wave of the future, where and again, there's no real firm market cap for all the cryptos, but it just seems like this thing could take off. Something like Coinbase, because this is the first crypto exchange that's actually becoming public, like a publicly traded company.
They're not. Voyager is public already.
Voyager, yes, I'm familiar with Voyager. So these two companies coming out, it's like, man, I want to jump in because there's no telling what it's going to be a year or two from now. Because crypto, there's a good chance it's going to keep taking off. And a lot of these other coins that are for pennies on the dollar right now can end up being worth a whole lot more.
Yeah.
You know, so because of that, it's like, man, even if I just get a share or two and just let it sit, but it depends on how high that IPO opens up at. If that IPO opens up at like $200, then I'm like, man, I ain't messing with y'all.
So my thing is, right, so you're gonna have the IPO. They're doing a direct listing, so maybe this will be a little different. But when you normally have the IPO, you're gonna have the company before it even goes public. You have the institutional investors get first dibs, right? So there's already buying and selling going on before you get to touch it. So you'll see when you see the prospectus, they'll come out and they'll talk about the share price is going to be $20, right? But then you have like what happened to us with Facebook, right? By the time it actually is live on the brokerage, it's $45, right? So they're already in it cheap. So now they're up, and now they're dumping the shares on you. So you go and you buy it. You know, everybody's buying into the hype. Okay, now, you know, it went from 20 to 45, it hit 60, you know, and then next thing you know, they're done. As they dump all these shares on you, you see the price drop. I don't want to buy into the hype. Let it settle. And then I'll come in and I'll assess the company. I'm going to do all my research on it and figure out what do I think is a fair value for it. If I think it's worth $100 billion, then cool, I'll pay for it. But if I think it's too high, I'll wait. You know, and they do have catalysts. They have things that they're working on, but they have things they're working on that other exchanges are already doing. You know, they're talking about offering interest on your crypto. You know, it's like, all right, well, I'm on a waiting list. You know, you're not giving it to me now, so it's like, all right. So I took I think it was Ethereum. I took it over to BlockFi because BlockFi offered me interest. You know, so because I'm like,
there's so many different things to consider.
Right. So I'm like, you're offering, they're building the company out. There's a lot of catalysts for the company to be worth more or to be worth what they're saying it's worth, and they're making a lot of money. So I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I just don't want to buy into the hype.
True. You know, I get that. That makes sense. I'm up here. I'm looking at Voyager now. The stock price is at $26.10. It had a 52-week high of $30.20, a 52-week low of 10 cents. So when I see something like that, that FOMO comes in because, like, man, why did I not get in on this when it was at 10 cents at its year low, and now it's at $30? Right. So it would be ideal if Coinbase, for some reason, opens up and tanks to 10 cents, because I'm buying.
Yeah.
But I don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the other thing, it might be worth looking at Voyager to buy around the time of the Coinbase IPO, because that might be a catalyst for Voyager to be on a run for the people who can't get into Coinbase because it's too expensive.
That is a smart ass move, Getz. You're right, because and that kind of goes into another strategy of when you have these companies, like let's say for example a Tesla, or a company that's leading in a sector. If they take off and they have some good news, though Tesla might be up to $700, well, what are its competitors doing? What's that price point looking like? And how are they affected by the Tesla news? Because to your point, if Coinbase is going to come out with an IPO, there's a great chance that a company like Voyager that offers a similar service, they're now affected. They're going to jump up too. So I'm actually, I wonder if there are options on Voyager, because I might look into making a play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an OTC. It's an OTC stock from what I could see. So I don't know if there's any options on it. I was actually thinking the same thing, but I noticed it was an OTC, is over the counter, so it's not on a major exchange. So I don't know if you can do any kind of options. You can't get it on Robinhood. I checked, at least from what I could see. Maybe I put the ticker in wrong, but that's what it looks like. So yeah.
Okay, and the ticker is VYGVF.
Yeah, so it's not coming up. Yeah. So, but it might be worth just buying into the stock.
That's definitely something I'm gonna look at. And again, these are all the strategies and things we put in place, Gets, and the things that we talk through on a daily basis to kind of help us make smart money moves. I think I've already gotten a strategy out of this conversation in terms of I'm going to be tracking when Coinbase, when that IPO is coming out, and I'm going to be tracking, the 14th of this month, so Wednesday. Okay, so that means today I'm going to look into Voyager to see if there's options available, because I would love to possibly get in on the call option, meaning I think the stock is going to go up. Like, that's something I want to get into tomorrow in anticipation of Coinbase's IPO hitting on Wednesday and potentially taking off and allowing Voyager to kind of share on that journey.
Yeah, let them ride on their back.
So I'm gonna ride on their back for sure. So I'm gonna see, and even if I can't get an option, maybe I can just buy a few shares of it and play it like a quick, get in, get out, in the next day or two. Or get in, sell a few of those shares, take a profit, but then keep a few of them just for the long term to see where it goes. That's actually a strategy.
Especially if you get enough of a move out of it to take your money out and play house money, let the market pay for it.
Yep, that's what I'm going for. But again, at the end of the day, people, Gets and Ib, we are not, and I repeat, we are not financial advisors. We're just two guys that love the stock market and we love talking stocks. You always have to do your due diligence. You always have to exercise your trades in the best interest of your portfolio, and always proceed with caution when you're working in the stock market. Gets, we came, we saw, we conquered. I enjoyed this episode. I feel like we touched on some crazy dope things. I want to make sure everyone follows us on Instagram. You can check us at IB_Gets_podcast. That's Instagram. Facebook, we're at Stocks is Talking Podcast with Ibn Gets. We're also on the Discord. Gets, how can they find us on
Hit us up on any of our social media and we'll send you the invite. Come talk to us.
Come talk to us. Come check us out. But that's all, folks. We out.